Hello everybody, let's talk about the default constructors. Before going deep on this subject, let's remember what is the difference between a class and an object. A class is just a blueprint of the objects, like you have a blueprint before building an house. With the blueprint of the house, you have the structure of your house and you have some properties around it. But at the end of the day, you can take a blueprint of a house and create multiple houses, maybe in different places, but the structure will be the same. And when you look at the class in Java, it's a blueprint, it's a scheme, it's a rule how to create an object. And it will mean that where it will be created, what will be the storage of this class, because it will be created on the heap. And in this case, you have two strings, and it will be the space necessary on the heap. In this case, it will be just reference. But if you have integers or other native values, it will allocate those space, like your house will occupy an area in a specific place. And what does it mean? It means that you can create multiple objects with usually with the same structure, of course, but with different values. Like you can create different houses with the same blueprint, but for instance, with a different color, let's say it. So to create a class in Java, you always need a constructor. And usually we start with a simple one, like let's say public bank account, and that's it. The, the characteristics of this special method, let's call it like this, it, it has the same name as the class name, and it can have parameters or not, but today we are only talking about the default constructor, and it doesn't have a return value. It has somehow a return value, implicit, not explicit like other methods. If you look at another method, you can, for instance, have double. You say, okay, I'm returning a double. Here, the return will always be a reference to the object created in the heap for this class. That is it's not necessary, because there is no explicit type for reference like other languages, like C++ and things like that. And if there will be one, it will be something like bank account. It will be the same name. So it will not be necessary to write it. Most of the time, we will be creating several classes in Java, and at the start of the development, usually we start simple. We just create an empty constructor, and we use it. Let's say, for instance, in this main, we say bank account, BA, new bank account, and we can use some methods, like if you want BA, and you can call a method like get balance and something like that. Most of the times it will be like this. And statistically, and with my experience, sometimes you have a lot, even a lot of classes where the constructor will always be like this, public, and no need to write any code inside of it to initialize. Maybe we have other methods, or maybe we'll have other constructors with parameters. But every time there is a constructor without parameters, most of the time it's empty. So there is an option to avoid or not write this kind of constructors, which is called the default constructor. Let's say this class savings account, which is, if you look into it, there is no code inside, but there is somehow, if we say something like savings account, SA, new savings account, you can see that it works. It has the default constructor here, the same as here. So this constructor is always optional when you don't have other constructors, which will be the subject of future videos. When we have multiple constructors and other classes like parent classes and subclasses, so there will be more tricky things to think about it. So this is the default constructor. What can I say more about this new? This new, it's mandatory. Imagine that you don't have something like this. You don't have the new. If you look into it, what can you infer from it? Okay, the compiler, if you put you say, okay, create a method. The compiler say, okay, I cannot find a method called savings account, even if it is the name of a class. Of course, due to the way the compiler is written and the Java specification, the Java is looking for a method calling savings account and not a class call it savings account. That's the reason you should always write the new. And by the way, it's a very it's a semantic word that is very useful. Say, okay, I'm creating something. That's the real meaning to you can read it in English. Say, okay, I'm creating a savings account. I'm not calling a method. I'm really creating an object from it. Okay, and that's all for today about the default constructor. See you in the next videos.